All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the January 14th Town of Cedar Lake Stormwater Board meeting. If you would please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Get going here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. So I guess it's going to be a one-man show, and I'm going to be that man of leading us in the roll call. Ryan Lissick, here. Robert Grozick, here. Benji Kinchklo, yes, he is. He is here. Don Oliphant.
Here.
David Austin.
Present.
Jeff Bungie.
Present.
Eric Bozma.
Here.
Julie Rivera, excuse me.
Here.
Oh, she's online.
All right. And then Wendy Schmidtke is not here. All right. In review of the agenda, or to the minutes from the December 10th meeting, was there any questions or items to be reviewed? All right. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from December 10th?
It's got to be you.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 10th.
All right. I'll
approve them. I'll second.
Excuse me. Okay.
Bless you.
Ryan Lissick, yes. Robert Grosick,
Yes.
Benji Kinchklo.
Yeah.
All right. In review of claims for fund number 650 to the amount of $18,212.29, was there any questions regarding these claims? If not, would there be a motion to approve the claims?
I'll make a motion to approve the claims for $18,212.29.
And I'll second that motion.
Ryan Lissick, yes. Robert Grosick,
Yes.
Ben Kinchklo.
Yeah.
All right. Now this might be a little bit tricky. The election of officers for 2025.
I can go ahead and take over.
Okay.
If you wish me to. Do we have nominations for chairman for 2025 year for the Storm and Water Board?
I make a motion to make Ryan Lissick chair for 2025.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other nominations? Not that there's much to choose from, but
It's a quality stock.
not that that's a bad. That's not. I didn't mean that in a bad way. So for election of the chairman for 2025, for Ryan Lissick, roll call, Robert Grosick,
Yes.
Benji Kinchlow,
Yeah.
and Ryan Lissick.
Yes.
All right. Election is adopted 3-0. Under the position of vice chairman, I'd like to open up the floor for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Benji Kinchlow for vice, please.
And I'd like to second that nomination.
Any other nominations? We'll move to elect Robert Grosick,
Yes.
Benji Clincho,
Yeah.
and Ryan Lissick.
Yes.
Election passes 3-0. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you. All right, moving on to update items. I'd like to give the floor to Town Manager Bungie with a item that he wanted to talk about.
If we could add I don't know if it's is it a procedural thing to amend the agenda, or should I just address it as something that's been on the agenda here before?
Is that the Sullivan parcel?
The Sullivan parcel?
It's part of update B. It's part of update item B.
Oh, for the LATs?
Yeah, it's Lad's
Mhm.
neighbor,
Oh, okay,
so we can address it with that. You don't have to amend anything.
okay. Then I'll wait my turn.
All right, then we'll move on to item A, Angie Mikolajczyk, 12806 Lee Court.
I don't have anything new on this one. Angie, can you clarify where your well is? Is it
Yes.
southwest corner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and just state your name and address when approaching the podium, please.
Hi, Angie Mikolajczyk, 12806 Lee Court. I actually brought my plat of survey that shows my well, and if you'd like for me, can I?
Yeah.
It's right on the cusp. Right here.
Mm-hmm. Can I take a picture?
Sure.
Okay. If we do the project we've discussed, that might have to move for reasons that you stipulated in, at prior meetings. So if we do that swale, that may have to move, because it can't be within a drainage path for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's
So-
right on the cusp.
Yeah.
So-
So that's one caveat. If it's in a good location, we're prepared to do that project now. It's up to you if you want to proceed.
Well, my comment on that is, I don't know on the property where else you could put the well. And number two, I don't know if any equipment could get back there because of the tight location to drill a well.
Yeah.
Those are my two comments on that.
I mean, the town will not move the well for you. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, okay, well,
So I don't know if you want to reach out to a local public well driller, which is pretty much Sheehy and
well,
those guys, and maybe get their opinion.
I can do that, if you think that's the best course.
Well, I mean, it's right on the drainage easement, so if we're putting a swale there, it's got to be away a little bit from it.
Okay, at this point, I probably need to, I didn't plan on saying anything, but I just got this information partly today and partly yesterday. First of all, I want to say that I did a records request on all the permits in my subdivision. Come to find out, there was an extensive letter written from lot number 2, which is the subdivision, which is the parcel right next door to me, that had several cracks in the foundation, water leaks, probably from stormwater damage. The plans that I received from the town show that there was a structure to be installed in lot 2 and lot 1, which Don and I disagree on this, probably because we're looking at different plans, which included a 10-inch drain pipe that started on lot 2, went, I'm just going to say about 150 feet. My backyard's about 134 feet, I think, or 137, all the way through the west side of our property to the corner, and then about 127 feet down to the yard drain. That's the plans that I had. The situation with that is that we had talked about the swale, and we had talked about also a possible drain pipe if we didn't have to use the property behind the vacant property behind our home if we weren't able to. So, in saying that, there's a situation with putting the swale in because of where the well sits. Now, I have been told it's because of the stairs on my deck. However, the stairs on my deck only extend 9.5 feet out from the building and about 11 inches, so let's say 10.5 feet from my building, whereas the well extends out 15 feet and is right in the middle of the 30 feet. So, everyone following that? Okay.
Yeah.
So what Don has told me numerous times, that if you come off of my deck needing the 15 feet for the drainage easement to install a swale, it would go right up to my deck and cause an issue with, me stepping over. Now, if we did go that route, I'd have to get some type of permission to do some type of structure over it, like a little bridge or something. But I'm for the other route with putting in the drain pipe, because I don't want to take any more soil out of my yard. There's already no erosion protection there, and I would rather install the pipe. With that being said, according to the records request that I received, there was, not only Lot 2 had structural damages due to stormwater, which is next to my house, but also there was an issue with the foundation on Lot 5 and on Lot 7. And I do have all this documentation that shows the foundation, one was not set properly, and the other one needed a soil test to make sure that it could even bear the strength of the walls. So that was done, and I found that in my records request. Furthermore, I continued on and did a records request regarding the Plan Commission meetings back when the subdivision was built, and that minutes are in May of 2006 and June of 2006. Well, I understand nobody really wants to talk about what happened 20 years ago, plus it matters to me because I live at the property and in that subdivision. I come to find out, after review of those minutes, and you have to bear with me a second because let's see here. Oh, long story short, let me just read this. I took a screenshot because I'm not going to pull up the whole minutes. The owner at the time, and I'm not going to say his name, stated that he had corrected the items stated in SJ's letter, which is an employee with CBAL at the time, or CPAL, sorry, I don't know. He stated that he had increased the size of the retention area. He said there was no erosion control plan included in the engineering, and that was intentional because he wanted to work closely with CBAL engineers to have a proper erosion control plan. Then it goes on to say, town engineer's comments. This person, SJ, stated she had just received the plans that evening and had not had a chance to look at the submittal. However, there are calculations still missing from the plans for stormwater drainage. Now, this is in the entire subdivision. There also is grading issues not complete on the engineering. The erosion control plan needs to be complete before proper permits can be obtained, and IDEM is in receipt of the notice of intent. This person recommended a resubmittal of the plans covering all the issues. And the outcome of that meeting, it said, and I kind of have it cut off here, but it was basically either to defer or to have a special meeting. So that was in May, and there was more information given in June, and in July, that was June, there was no other meeting. So unless there's more minutes down the road from what happened with the Plan Commission, it appears to me as it was just grossly overlooked by many people. So I don't feel that, although I do want the situation remedied, that I don't feel that it should be all on me to replace a well when we could probably do a different route. So that's what I wanted to inform you of.
So the problem with putting in a pipe, you still need separation from the well. There's minimum separation standards from a conveyance path or a well to a conveyance path or a pipe to a potable well.
Okay, and what's that minimum?
I couldn't tell you right now. Typically it's 10 feet, but potable wells are different.
Okay, well, that would go into my house, sir.
I know. I don't know where the well is supposed to be. If it was supposed to be down here, I can't answer that. I'm just dealing with where it's at now.
Yes. I was wondering, according to what this information I had today, is there some way I did call IDEM, and I'm waiting for a return call, find out about that notice of intent?
So notice of intent back then, so SJ was my predecessor, Sandra.
Yes.
Notice of intent doesn't correspond to stormwater design or stormwater conveyance.
I'm talking about the well.
I know, but it doesn't apply to that either. Notice of intent is simply the prior Rule 5 program that IDEM ran, which is now a CSGP program, and it is strictly soil erosion control. water quality type application. So if you're building something, it's putting up the appropriate silt fence, it's stabilizing stuff, it does not go into stormwater design or potable wells, or they're completely mutually exclusive of each other. So that's what you're referring to. So that would really have no bearing on this. And boy, if you look at the screen too, right now, when this is not exact, I will give you that. But boundary wise, and this is an aerial from 2024,
I think it's 30 feet.
it's 12.5 feet from
Well,
your boundary to your stairs.
According to the survey that I hand you, it's 30 feet. If you look at the survey.
Is that to your house, or is that to the deck?
That's to your house.
It's from the corner of my house until the corner of my property on one side of the house. On the other side, I'm not exactly sure, but I believe it's 27 feet from the other corner of the house to the back of the property.
So
The
we're
deck-
showing 24, like I said, this isn't exact. I guess my point is, in what you said about putting a swale in here, it will be all within that area. And the problem with putting a pipe only is that the water coming from the adjacent parcel, it kind of sheet flows onto you. So if you stick a pipe in one location, unless we run like a perforated kind of French drail type pipe, which will still require some type of depression, it's not going to collect all the water we want. That's the benefit of the swale, because this is all coming this way. If you stick a catch basin here without doing some serious grading to pitch it back to it, because it all wants to go to the north, it only catches so much, it only solves part of the problem. That's why the swale is recommended. And like you said, the plans that I have in our office show a swale back here. There's no piping back here. So I have not seen what you got in your public record request.
Okay, I got it from the town. I have it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, we can
That doesn't
compare
mean
if you
we have
want,
it.
but.
And especially being this how old and before my active time at the town, I can't say yea or nay to it.
Do you have those files on
What I
your
mentioned?
computer that you can
Yeah.
share with us by email?
Of course.
Okay. Love to see them. Yeah, this is
Because-
interesting. How long have you been sitting on this?
I'm sorry?
How long have you had the files?
I just got them yesterday.
Okay.
One yesterday and one today.
Okay.
I got the permits, of course, after. And I do have to say that there was an accusation made that no one in my subdivision had stormwater problems, but obviously, according to the records, they did. And the town people were aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
Many people were aware of it. So that's where I'm at, and now here I am with the situation, and I do have to express, I'm not the only person in the subdivision that is getting water, because the plans that I got that we disagree on, it starts at Lot 2, because there's a hill there as well. There's not just a hill behind my home, there's a hill on the side, on the south side of my property.
Mm-hmm.
So that structure that I saw in the plans would make sense to collect that water before it enters onto the property. In my opinion, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not an engineer.
My email's on the card.
Okay.
Send me their.
Sure.
And then when did you move in? When did you move in?
We closed in April of 2021. And in 2021, after the spring came, I got a lot of water on the property. So we tried to circumvent that. We did some gardening and such, and then come fall, it was like, holy crap. So we started to do some other things, because it wasn't just the rear of the house. It was by the windows to our garden-style basement, the garden-style windows in our basement. It was the side of our house, both sides, and the front. And we had a big problem with no water going into the yard drain in the front. The water would just come like around the building and swish down our driveway. So then in 2023, in the spring of '23, I noticed town employees on the back property, and I panicked. I'm like, what's going on? Because there was operations on that property that should not have happened, and I was fearful that they were going to make a commercial building back there, and I'm like, wait a minute here. So I came in April of 2023 and said, you know, the property has residential, business, light industrial, what's going on? And I was told at that time that they didn't have any plans for building on that property. So then again, I questioned, well, why are the town employees there? And then they had instructed me that if they were going to be putting anything on the back property, that I would be notified. Well, in November of 2023, and I explained to them I had water problems, I didn't, you know. So then in November 2023, I was notified that they wanted to build on the vacant property behind our home. So I did a huge letter with all kinds of photos and stuff like that for a remonstration for that BZA, because they were asking for 2-lot subdivision back there. And then that's where it all started. So then I started to get a lot of people going against the things that I was saying when I knew by research the things that I was saying were correct. So I continued to research and come to find out that there was supposed to be protection from stormwater on our home that did not exist. And that's why we're here today. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, right around now is about a year that I've been coming in front of the board. So...
Yeah, but with addressing other problems, too.
No, this board, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of stuck to stormwater on this board. Yeah, because we had structures in the drainage easement
Yeah.
that had to get taken down, and so here we are.
So let us review it, and hopefully we'll have some kind of answers to your questions
Yeah.
based on the data that we have.
Well, like I said, I believe it's unreasonable to expect for me to move my well if there's nowhere else to put it. Now, I can call Shealy, but, you know, I don't know, or whoever, but I don't know what they're going to say.
I understand.
You know, and that's the issue. I mean, what I would like to resolve this issue, and people are telling me it cannot be done, is for us to get a couple of feet on the other property and put structure there. It's vacant property. But people are saying it can't be done, but I have heard through meetings that sometimes taking for sidewalks, easements, whatever. And that's the route that I would be happy with because of the use of our yard.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Mr. Oliphant, correct me if I'm not mistaken, but even if we went with the swale, does it not need a swale on the north side of the yard as well? Because there's a 15-foot drainage easement there, which leaves me with about 10 feet of my yard.
It would eventually catch grade and it would dissipate naturally. It depends how the grades work out. So there's some like bellies kind of in your rear yard that
Yeah.
we've seen out there. So we need to figure out what grade this is in the corner near your well, and then figure out how far we have to go north to catch it. And then it will run over land down to the cross culvert here. So it will open up and flow naturally, probably somewhere in this vicinity, I guess.
In my yard.
Yep. Well,
So,
because,
okay, it's hard.
again,
I mean,
this
look,
isn't even part of the subdivision, the next lot's to the north.
no, but look at all the lines that go through my house. You know, and the thing is, I need to get this fixed because I have maintenance in my home that only a fool would repair without fixing this. I have a cracked foundation in my garage. I have gurgling in the ground, but in the bathroom in my basement that I need to get investigated. And, you know, I can't make those repairs until we do something. And I've been there for 4 years now. And you know, I almost feel a way that, although maybe not, but I feel like I'm being punished for trying to protect my investment by saying, well, you need to pay to move your well. And maybe that's not the case, and I understand. But it's not my fault any more than it is, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but I would just think that because of the situation, and I will send you those documents, that, you know, we should try to work together to come up with a solution where I'm not flipping the cost for $8,000 to $10,000 wall moving when this subdivision didn't get planned as it should have. There's no way of me knowing it before I purchased the home. There's no way of me knowing that. And for 6 years, according to that letter, it went unaddressed by the town, even though that there was information being sent to the town on it. And now we're here 20 years almost.
Right, and I can't comment about what's been happening in the past, but all we can do is move forward and review the
Exactly.
information. So,
And I
that's
agree.
and I think you know that the
Yes.
board's been very eagerly to work with you through the different things that have been going on. So, let us review it, and we'll either reach out to you before the meeting or next meeting.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay.
Now, could you give me your email? And I don't know who else wants the information I have, but do you want to just jot it down?
Yeah, I'll give it to you right now.
Okay.
Do you wanna do that?
Is there anything else?
Yeah.
Do you understand my point of view?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, I'll give you my town email.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the Justin Lance property at 7320 West 140th Place. Town Manager Bunge, do you want to address that first?
Well, I had a conversation, with David that there's an affected, adjacent property owner by the name of Sullivan, that has subsequently, deceased without heirs, as best we know. And it's kind of critical as far as making this whole Lance easement and the drainage of, properties over there, on 140th Place, pretty imperative that we have, an easement or some kind of structure on Mr. Sullivan's property, or the Sullivan estate. So, unless Don wants to elaborate, that's really about all that I have, other than, if there's some action that needs to be taken that cannot be initiated by this board, then it's my understanding that, some kind of recommendation ought to be made to town council to pursue, other options.
Dave, do you want to expound on that?
Yeah, this is one of the conundrums of lawyer's life. Mr. Sullivan apparently died in 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. We're told reliably. He passed away succeeding his wife, so he was the survivor. He passed away without children, passed away without a last will and testament or a trust document or some manner or method of handling his affairs. He owned the house as Michael Sullivan. So without blood issue, well, first of all, no estate proceeding was commenced. So there was no personal representative, no fiduciary who had standing to make legal decisions and or transactions, no court to go to get a judge to sign an order. A variety of things are all bad about it. Statute of limitations for opening an estate, if you have standing, is 3 years. So it would take a special set of proceedings to get a judge to not require the 3-year limitation. Not saying that can't be done, but it's pretty near impossible. It's a statute. It's a statute of limitation, and it's expired substantially. If somebody in this room or anywhere you know has Sullivan blood, let me draw blood. I can do an affidavit, and we would be done with this. We can't find anybody or know of anybody, at least my file doesn't have any record of anyone with Sullivan blood. And by the way, I've consulted otherwise. I've thought a lot about this.
I know you've talked a lot about this. I know it's important. I talked with closing examiners at title companies about the potential options. We've all come to the same conclusion. Unless we find an heir of Mr. Sullivan, we are reduced to condemnation. Condemnation is probably something that in this instance should be considered. Don explained to me today, we had a good conversation. At first I heard some of the details of what the site, the grounds, the ownership, the legalities were. Not having this easement means a lot of money, 6 figures. Having it takes the cost of the proposed project by your engineer to you down to 10% of that, or thereabouts. I'm using round numbers, if you will. Reason that I have not run in here yelling eminent domain is because the policy of this town for a long time, and I've been here a long time, is not to go and chase people's property and take it from them. So we're at the point where, unless there's a discovery of a Sullivan heir that I can maneuver through affidavits and the like, we're stuck with eminent domain acquisition. Now, one last piece of information, it was interesting to me, and Don, you shared it with me, and somebody else told me, maybe you did, Jeff, is the house on the property occupied? I don't know, have we gone over there and knocked on the door and
I mean, I heard the rumor it was occupied by his family, but.
There you go, the longer it goes, the more
Yeah,
the
and
story.
I've also heard that it's in pretty rough shape.
It is. And I've seen somebody over
Okay.
there, mid-30s, 40-year-old male. So, but that was beginning of summer. So,
You don't know if that's family or not.
I have no idea,
Could be squad.
honestly, yeah. I mean, at this point,
I mean, you know, it's almost, given the condition of the property, the unsafeness of it, the appearances of it, as described, it's a free check. And we've got appraisals.
I mean,
We know that a check will yield an easement, yeah, all that stuff's done, of course.
the garage door is a tarp, so it's not like it's in the best of shape.
I guess we could go in with the Unsafe Building Commission and, present an unsafe building proceeding opportunity.
Who do you
That's
file,
still- but that's-
who do you file that against then? Who's the petitioner at that point for
I think
unsafe?
it's still published, you know, I mentioned it to you today, everything would have to be published
Yeah.
in newspapers, and you don't get the groups verifying, at least that notice was given.
Who's paying the taxes? Can't that be
That's a
a,
great question,
Just
a couple
gonna
of
ask.
people asked me that too. There's a speculating company from some other place is paying the monthly mortgage. There's a mortgage on this property. It's been in effect since 2013. Some company bought it on a tax sale, we think, and is paying an outstanding mortgage. So,
Yeah,
the
they're-
title examiner asked that question. And, so the payments keep coming. Apparently somebody's speculating on the value and use and worth of that property when it's free and clear. So I would have to give notice to that company, but they do not have to be simple. They're making a mortgage payment.
fun?
So
Yeah.
I can't add any more things. It's almost like one of my, bar exam law questions.
Yeah.
Tell us all you know about real estate.
Yeah, can it
and
become any
real
more
property.
convoluted?
Here you are.
So is there an opportunity to acquire the entire parcel?
That would be
true.
nice.
It would
That's
make,
true.
it would make the job easier.
Well, you need to go get an appraisal then, 2 appraisals,
Two.
of the entirety. Because I believe the appraisals we have in hand are for the, was it 30 feet by length?
I don't know if we have appraisals for it yet. We have easement documents together.
Who's gonna sign those, Don?
Huh? Well,
gonna
yeah,
sign it?
I
You gotta
know,
make-
but I don't think we've done appraisals on it.
Okay. Following the statute, you have to have appraisals, then you make an offer. The offer is based upon a median of the two appraisals. Time 30 days elapse, then you go file the lawsuit.
So should
That's
we,
why the appraisals are important. You gotta have the right.
Yeah,
should we get appraisals for the entire property then?
Absolutely.
okay.
You need the entire property, staging,
So,
construction,
Yeah.
Yeah.
improvement.
I mean, if it's a big
Call the
flooding
trees
area
down.
around there, just knock it down and turn it into just an open space area.
It could be. for
It's
sure.
low, it begs to be that.
I mean, 'cause the house on the other side of that, it's actually nice, it's the newer, somebody built a new home, and then the other side, the.
South.
Yeah, the south side, they're remodeling that house.
Is what's left after the easement area is taken, sized suitably for a home? Do they get a permit to build a
Yeah.
home, somebody?
Yeah,
It's a 100-foot wide lot, it's 2 lots.
yeah,
Okay,
So yeah, even if we took 20, you got an 80-foot frontage.
yep.
so you got enough to build a house.
So yeah, use our area and sell the lot.
So that's an option.
Then we could reconstruct that whole pipe going underneath the road too.
Shift it more center and get it away from last,
Yep,
be cleaner.
yep, and then just run straight down.
Alright, I mean,
In the words of my law office, this is typical CUA.
and get appraisals.
Yep.
I'm just saying.
Alright, I'll get the appraisals.
Okay.
Let me know when you get them.
Okay.
All right, moving on to item C, Mike Schmidt, 7518 Lakeshore Drive, also known as Merton Drive.
So as we said at the last meeting, this is a paper right-of-way with a bunch of slope. This is being included in a roadway project. That's going, cost estimates for those roadway projects are gonna go out to town council tomorrow. They'll have to decide if they wanna include this subdivision among 3 others in the CCMG application process, which is due by the end of the month. So there's something scoped to kind of manage that area. So it's just a matter if it's going to be part of that package being submitted to INDOT or not. I'll know later this month. So you'll have some idea at next meeting.
Wow.
If it gets addressed. Or into a project that addresses it.
Okay. Moving on to update item D, 12806 Marsh Landing Parkway.
We reached out to CSX and shockingly we've not heard back from them yet. Because we need access up from the Legion parcel to get access to that failing flared end section, which is on their property, to repair it. So I'll keep trying to get a hold of them, and I'll let you know. Cross your fingers.
It's that little dagger that runs along, you said the Legion owns that property?
No, we'll have to access part, so this is the Legion, they do kind of dagger up, but then it stops at Havenwood, and then it
Oh, I
turns
see.
into CSX, and it's roughly in this vicinity up here, between 804 and 806. But, I mean, there's actually decent, there's an easement between the parcels that's actually pretty open with, without fences or other appurtenances, but the problem is the topography as it drops into the railroad property. The flared end's somewhere down at the bottom of the slope, which is well off the subdivision parcel and the easement. So we would need right of access from CSX, which is not an easy thing to do. So we'll keep working on it and see where it goes. I mean, it's not harming anything terribly right now, but it should be fixed. So, let's see how they respond.
You sound pretty optimistic.
I do.
Moving on to Public Works projects, item A, Monastery Woods, 10026, West 128th Plate, or Avenue, excuse me. Just,
I gotta mention it to Kubiak about having PGX do it, and he said he'll look into it, so.
10-4. Moving on to Woodland Hills, 130th Court cul-de-sac.
I got nothing new on that one. It's ironically just south of the one up on Marsh Landing, splits 9,089. But nothing new on that one. That's kind of a long-term one. There is an easement through there. The fear is that a lot of that pipe is starting to be overgrown with roots, and there's some pretty large oak trees back there as well.
Yeah.
That may cause an issue, but it's on the radar right now.
All right, item C.
Is that Paulie Castangoy's property?
Sounds
I wanna say
familiar?
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah, he's had me out there, he's asked me to come out and take a look at, how badly underscored, some of his trees are with that creek, or with that, water feature or storm feature that's there.
Yeah, it's just an old pipe that was installed, I don't know when this subdivision went in, a number of years.
It was repaired
Not really collapsed, I
10
think.
years ago or something,
Huh?
but it was repaired, like, probably 10 years ago.
Was it?
Like, some of it, yeah.
I thought Tony tried to camera it once and got about halfway through it and got stuck.
Yeah, we did. Once we got to where the oak trees are, that was it. We couldn't go any further. And then we tried cameraing it the opposite way, same thing. Got stuck.
So, I mean, it flows, it's just when the cul-de-sac sees a bunch of water, it does kind of pond up.
Yeah, because unfortunately, there's only that one storm
There's only
drain
one
in the whole
inlet,
entire,
And it drains this entire road.
yeah,
Not a huge area, but it's enough.
yeah.
So, it's one of our long-term, not long-term, but we're aware of it.
Moving on to Dewey Street lateral 14616 Dewey Street.
Jeff, have you heard from, Mr. Frick?
He asked that, he doesn't understand how a drainage easement is going to benefit him in the back, because he doesn't think that there's enough slope. And depending on how high you would have to put the structure in the backyard, he doesn't see how on earth it's going to flow into a structure that's out in the street that's 3 feet below the pavement. Yeah, some very interesting comments. He thinks somebody ought to get out there and shoot some new elevations and show him some things.
We've shot him. I don't know what else to tell him.
Okay.
It will work.
I mean, is that something that you can, is that in a report that you can?
If you want to set it up with him, I will meet him out there and go over it all with him if he wants. I mean, otherwise, we'll just take it off. I mean, because I think Tim was pretty upfront with him that if he wants to redo that house like he wants to, that's going to be a requirement. It's going to be on him to do it. So he can either have the town do it, or he can do it on his own time. So, but if he doesn't want us to do it, then that's what it is.
You know, and one of the other comments that he made was that, since they did the improvements in the curb and gutter along Pine Avenue, they're on the other side of the parking lot for Bugaboos, he said things have gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
But then I addressed the point, I said, Tom, when we met in my office back in the summer,
He seemed like he was on board.
it sure did. So, yes, very, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to try to connect him with me or give him my number, it's fine. I'll meet him out there and show him our shots and everything.
Okay, I will do so. I'll make that contact by the other way.
All right, looking at additional projects, we have the Woods of Cedar Creek.
Nothing really new on that. You guys approved the first pay application, which was 95% of it. We're holding 5% retainage on that to evaluate how the sod took with its late placement in the spring. I think we got a couple sprinklers to repair out there as well, but those would be the two remaining items we have to look at in the spring, and then if it's all good, we'll release the retainage and that project will be done.
10-4. Woodland Shores Storm Sewer Improvements, formerly the Becker property.
David, I need an easement I need easement package put together for that one. I think I sent you already. It's for the adjacent parcel, the Osan Living Trust. So I can send it again.
Would you please, I remember us talking about it. I
Yeah.
don't remember getting it.
We got Becker's. We need this one too, because it's really tight through there.
Is it only one?
Yeah, just one. We have existing easements in the rears, and then between 7512 and 7506. So we're good, but we need that to connect all that together. Just the one.
All right, moving on to Schubert Dodge Street Storm Sewer System.
The survey is being done now, I understand, so hopefully we'll have something to talk about next meeting. I think their deadline was, their timeline was like 5 business weeks. So that puts us probably around this time. I'll check in with the surveyor, see where they're at, but hopefully I have something by next meeting.
Okay. Moving on to new business, anything to add?
Nope, not this time.
I got something really quick. I got something from Jen this afternoon about current stormwater funding effectively, what's in your budget starting in 2025. So I am reading this right. They just put the last 2024, the second payment in 2024 into the budget, and that brings the budget up to $778,791.94. So that's your starting budget for 25. And just like 24, you'll get installments in July and then end of year. You get 2 a year. So that's where your 654 fund is at right now, and that's your capital fund. The 650 is your operational fund, is which the docket you approved earlier today. So start thinking of some projects. It's a fair amount of money in there. It's only growing.
Are you anticipating any matches coming from CCMG from this?
That's going to be, we'll have more information on that once the road committee decides what they want to do. The current estimates that we have for the projects that are up for kind of the application process are the full freight, so about $3 million. But I don't think the town has that kind of money to do that. So that will they'll be pared down to, half of those or whatnot. But yeah, next call's in July.
Okay.
I was gonna ask, I remember Bob brought up at one meeting about the street sweeper, and what got resolved with that, anything? I know you brought it up with the storm board, and I didn't know what happened.
He just told me that it's gonna be in the NERC this Thursday.
Okay.
Is that the environmental one?
Yes, I believe you shall be there as well.
I will be there.
And I think Jeff is coming too.
I was planning on it.
Now it's a party.
Just 3 applications on there.
Bob's buying lunch.
I remember saying
Oh,
something
hey, there you
about
go.
Bob's buying lunch.
I go to a late breakfast
Well, you can still buy that.
That sounds good too.
at Susie's in Belleville.
So,
Get my lunch, guys.
Okay.
depending on how everything's rated, these types of projects, as it sits right now, it's not gonna be until a 2029 or 2030 year project. However, these types of projects do have the capability of being moved up because it's, equipment acquisition, it's not right away, it's not construction. So, we will see where everything sits coming forward, but it is favorable. From just the 30,000 foot perspective, it is favorable going into it, just based upon what's been applied for from other applications.
Should know a firmer decision, but middle February, right?
Yeah, probably middle of February.
That's what they're
and then
talking about.
Yeah, so. Which is good news, but
So,
takes time.
yeah, and as far as equipment, I would need to verify with Jen if you can pull equipment stuff out of a capital fund. Or is that, did that mean push over to operational? I don't know. I don't know if there's some weird caveat with that, if they can move the money between them. I don't know. I mean, it's not a terrible idea. I mean, Public Works needs back truck, need a couple other storm-related type equipment, which I don't know if they're in any kind of fiscal plan right now to replace.
Tread softly,
Huh?
tread softly with your clerk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe so. I think the new back truck kinda got,
Yeah.
and then the, sweeper, the old one's still at the shop. So, and then I don't know what they're gonna do with that, so.
Whatever, if we get approval for these, street vac, payloader, and, back truck, if we get them, then you've gotta drill a hole in the block, right?
Yeah.
To destroy it,
Supposedly, yeah,
and that's what has to happen.
yeah.
But, it's not dead yet.
No, it's actually broke now.
No, I'm talking about getting the new equipment.
Oh, okay, well,
Because the council approved it to move forward.
yeah, okay.
And so we gotta wait and see if we get awarded. That's an 80-20 match, right?
All right.
Yes,
Ryan?
sir.
Or that's 25-25.
Huh? No, it's 80-20.
Is it 80-20?
80% funding. What was included in the municipal leases, or don't you want to talk about that?
The
Municipal
leases for equipment?
Equipment.
Through-
Probably a Jen question.
It probably is, because I don't think I'm not sure I'm privy to that.
Okay.
But thanks for trying, though.
All right. Public comment?
Angie Michaelacek, 12806 Lee Court. I have three questions regarding some information that was discussed after I was here the first time. And I was just wondering, Mr. Oliphant, is it too late to pull up the property, my property, 12806 Lee Court?
Mhm.
I have a question. You're talking about access. So regardless of what route is decided upon for the stormwater drainage system, how would access be obtained through, on my property to install anything?
So I would need to double check if there's an easement on your north line. If not, we would need some type of ingress egress easement to get to the back.
Okay, well, there's a yard drain right there.
Here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm more concerned does it extend back here so we can get access to your back. I know there's a drainage easement that extends here. I don't know if it comes all the way
I
around.
believe there is one.
Yes.
Is there?
In fact,
So if it's accessible, we would use that access path. If there's trees in it or something else, then
it's full
we
of
may
trees.
have to
It's
discuss.
full of trees that are many years old.
Then we may have to discuss a different option, unless you want your trees to come down.
Well, they're not my trees. Not
Well,
all of them. Anyway.
yeah.
Okay, so, second question was, if we can't access it that way, what would be the other way?
Something we would have to discuss.
Okay,
I mean,
I'm assuming it would be
adjacent parcels or, yeah,
probably asking permission from the adjacent parcel?
potentially.
And what if they deny the permission, because I'm gonna have this issue,
Well, then
When
it's gonna have to
sh-
come through you. He doesn't
she-
have to give it to us, so it would have to come through your parcel then. We wouldn't
Even a
get
well
access
driller?
through here. Huh?
Okay, well, okay.
I know
No.
that's probably too steep and tight. It would
Well,
have
it's a
to come
utility
from here.
easement, there's gas lines there and such.
Well, yeah, so we certainly, more than likely would be through here.
Okay, you would go over the yard drain, that's about 3 feet down?
Angie, I can't tell you, like, exact stuff at this point. I'm just telling you generally.
Well, I know, but the information needs to be obtained in order to make a decision. So what you had also said is right about where that arrow is,
Mhm.
that's where the water would go?
Roughly.
Okay, so getting back to the well situation, I believe that would be about the only area that would be accessible for a well. Because if not on that corner, it can't go in the front because my sewer system's there.
I mean, it can go right here. I don't know where your service lines come in, I'm guessing they're down here.
No,
That's
sir,
something
they're
I
not. My service lines are in the front.
Well, then it probably would have to go over here somewhere, or
So
in the
that
front
means-
yard.
That's where the sewer's at.
Well,
Well, I'm just saying.
I don't know your property that, like,
Okay.
minutely, you know? So,
Okay, well,
we
that's
would
why
have
I'm
to
here.
look at it.
Okay. And then, the question, last question I have is, what's the cost and approximate cost in, regardless if it's a swale or a drain pipe? Just curious.
It's probably slightly more expensive with the pipe, but I couldn't tell you, because I don't know linear footage, I have no idea.
Does it exceed 10,000?
Potentially.
Good, yeah. Why is
So it
that
would be
number-
more, huh?
Why is that number on your mind?
Well, because I was told that that's about the cost of putting a well in. So if it's more cost efficient to do, see what I'm saying?
Oh, of course.
So that's where I'm going with that. So like, what's the better cost option?
He'd have to get an estimate, but depending on what the scope of work is gonna be looking like. So that's why I was asking to say, you know, look at the documentation that you have
Yes, sir.
and be able to find a solution.
Is 13 feet enough for a well driller to get back in my yard?
13 feet for a well drill truck?
Yeah. Because that's what is available
Between your property or?
between the property and the back property. Between my home and my deck and the back property, there's 17 feet. Mr. Oliphant says there's 12, so I'm going with his number.
You mean accessing
I mean,
it
'cause
from the
you're-
front road? To back there?
Yes, because in order for it's a hill, so my driveway's on an incline. Now, forgive me, but I'm getting information here that makes no sense to me based on what I know about the property, which I understand that you don't know. But my driveway goes down, and then there's a big yard drain on the other side of it, so I don't know how a vehicle could access that heavy equipment. Through the front, we already talked about the utility drain, the utility easement with the gas pipes and whatnot.
I mean, you can get a drilling rig in this area.
So then the lines would go all the way around my house?
Well, Angie, I don't know.
Right, but based on the information that you're telling me, to be reasonable, we would have to put pipes under my driveway and through the sewer lines if we went that side, and if not the other side, we got, 127 feet on that side and 134 feet on that side to go back to the other side to get to where my well structures are in my home. So, based upon the information you're giving to me, it seems a little unreasonable to expect that, I would say. Just wanted to point that out,
No, I'm in
because that's
agreement with
very
you.
costly.
But yes, yeah, it's.
That would be way more costly than 10 or 12,000 to figure something else out.
I agree.
So, I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night, and we will see you on February 11th at 6 p.m.